My name is Jay Moon. I'm the president and CEO of the Mississippi Manufacturers Association. And again, I want to welcome you to Mississippi.
Thank you.
You've spoken at length during your campaign about the importance of manufacturing to our national economy, and we certainly appreciate that. And I'd like to ask you a question regarding all of the issues that you've spoken about: energy, regulatory, and as well as the EPA. As you know, the Environmental Protection Agency has often been targeted for significant cutbacks or elimination, with critics citing onerous or expensive EPA regulations on manufacturers and energy producers. It goes without saying, however, that most Americans want clean water and clean air. As president, how would you balance the need for environmental protection with the need to protect the consumer and business from increasing costs of environmental compliance?
That's a very important issue, and let me just start out by saying that what we've seen under this administration is a truly radical environmental agenda. For the EPA to even put forward the idea that CO2 is a toxin is just outrageous. It is non-scientific. I get a kick when I get questions from the press about conservatives being non-scientific, when you look at point after point after point on the left and the politicization of science that goes on, the bending and the extremes that the left goes to make some of these cost-benefit analyses that would not stand up under any type of common sense test, but what the EPA uses routinely in order for them to reach in and to create and control more. What I've said as part of my template for turning this economy around is that we need to look first at the high-cost regulations that the administration has put in place. And of course, a significant number of those are EPA regulations. When I say high-cost regulations, those are regulations that cost the economy over $100 million a year. The Obama administration has set a record. The average of those regulations per year under Clinton and Bush was about 62 a year. Last year, President Obama put in place over 150 high-cost regulations. He set in 4 years to put more high-cost regulations in place than President Bush or President Clinton put in 8 years. And as a result of that, what I've said is, look, we've got to send a clear signal to the business community, to the energy community, that we are going to have a very different way of doing business from a regulatory perspective. And so on day one, this is one thing a president can do. The president can't repeal a law, but you can repeal regulations. You can repeal executive orders. So what I've said is on day one, I will repeal every one of those high-cost regulations being put in place by the Obama administration. Now, some of them we can get rid of, never to be seen again, like Obamacare regulations and some of the environmental regulations, yeah. And like the most recent environmental regulation that was completely nonsensical with respect to emissions at power plants that's causing the shutting down of so many coal-fired plants now. But others we're going to have to rework, and that's where you all come in. We'll work with the affected communities. We'll work with them to make sure that we have a regulatory structure that is compliance-oriented. We put a whole group, to the extent, obviously, political employees, we replaced the entire political operation of the EPA. We dramatically, changed the attitude from the top down of the EPA. I don't have any doubt that the EPA will be a fundamentally different organization. They were under Bush and they are under Obama. That's not the problem. The problem is, how do you make long-term change? How do you make change so when the next liberal president comes in that they don't go back to where they do before? And that's not a regulatory change. As I mentioned before, a president can change regulations from president to president. What we have to do is you have to change the underlying laws. And again, very clear contrast between me and the other candidates in this race. I was someone who, supported, changes, for example, to the Endangered Species Act. Whereas as Speaker Gingrich blocked any changes to the Endangered Species Act. He's one of the authors of the Endangered Species Act. Believes it was a valuable piece of legislation. It may have been, but it has been absolutely abused. I know that from personal experience in Pennsylvania. And I'm sure look at the Central Valley of California, there's so many places that we put critters above people. And Again, it's a radical ideology that says, that we are here to serve the earth instead of man having dominion over the earth to serve him and be a good steward of that earth.